What do you mean? There is perfect coherence in this. There is a complete coherence in this process. The structure, the logical structure, the narrative model, the narrative skeleton of this whole process is very clear. Become aware of the very foundation of acts. If you walk on this path, let's say you are coherent with this type of purpose, that you want to achieve freedom, you want to achieve responsibility, you want to act in discernment, in freedom, in creative responsibility. I am radically pursuing this goal. I reach a point where I understand that any of the most subtle motion of my capacity to be, any of the subtle motion in my acts of consciousness is thoroughly, completely, totally informed by all the resonance of my whole horizon of existence, my worldview. This is not abstract shit. This is the very concrete, the uttermost concrete ground of possible life, possible freedom, possible responsibility, possible awakening, possible birth. So if I say, I just want to stand clear with this revelation that the very possibility of freedom, the very possibility of truly responsible existence is to be fully aware of your horizon of existence, the complete model of your world, how it is immediately, subconsciously produced in every second. To become aware of the full feeling of the world, the complete opened heart of feeling your entire existence in any second, in any instant. This is your true reality. If you stand clear with the children, like so damn clear and so damn lucid that you are right now surrounded by all the children of experience, which is all the children of inertia, all the children of established forms of inertial objective perception. And you speak with them, you speak in all of their modes of listening, you speak in their structures of understanding. You tell them about this revelation of our true reality, the beauty of it, the nature of it, the vastness of it, the full force of it, the awakening into it. This is happening in phenomenological honesty. So this happens in a place of pure experience where you are completely responsible and there is no interference with the opinions of the world. This is a place of true courage, the place of true responsibility. So let's say I play this game and then I understand, okay, whatever was said about the divine, whatever was said about the mystical realization of unity, it is this. I decide this in my own freedom. And I say, I want to awaken this divine caliber of possibility. I want to awaken this divine complete existence, which is the very basic possibility of freedom, the very basic possibility of a responsible life. And I wish to be able to stand in it so as to entertain the possibility of it in front of anyone. So I place my spine in the field of this courage, and I stand firm, fierce. I am ready to die for it. This is kind of the attitude of this kind of courage. So then I play this game. I frame it in a different way. If this sum of all forms of love, I can be so fucking courageous to think of all the movies, all the love stories I can taste, I can imagine, I can be thrilled or enticed by all the stories of love for my children, and I can go into infinite variations of it. I can be inspired by stories, by movies, by poems, by anything. The love for a master, the love for a fellow, the love for a friend, the love for the divine, the love for some alien fucking presence, the love for a landscape, the love for a homeland, the love for a country, the love for whatever the fuck. If I can stand in this outrageous capacity to stabilize all forms of love as the divine, and I wish to awaken this capacity, I wish to awaken this stable form of existence. I want to live like this. I want to produce a vision of life that feels like fucking this. I want to make possible a life, a culture, a coherent nature, a coherent physical realm that can entertain, that can stabilize, that can make possible such an existence, which is I produce my realms, I clarify my realm of presence, I clarify my fucking reality as the morphology of all shapes of love that are enticing, thrilling. I shall define everything in the substance of love. I will live like this. And what if I would move in this realm in a sort of ecstatic dialogue in which this divine beast of complete love is resurrected or awakened into adventure, awakened into a life with me. Like it's a bit like seducing it into existence, seducing it into activation, to seduce this fucking inertial realm into function, into aliveness, to seduce all of these kingdoms of capacity around you, all of these kingdoms of life, of petrified life around you, into a thrilling love story that is encompassing and stepping beyond all the stories I know. Like taking all the substance of possible love, all these possible substances, and producing such a scale of existence that can engage them all and can thrill them all, like wanting to fuck the divine and produce some sort of ecstasy or orgasm in the flesh of the divine, which is to awaken such a scale of existence. And I wish to dance into this invitation for anyone who wishes to join such an outrageous capacity for existence, which is like a full prayer mode, like a full logic of prayer engaged as life. As a civilization, we step fucking beyond survival mode. We can access omnipotence, omnipresence, omniscience. So then what? Who can envision life beyond that? What is the faculty, the capacity, the disciplines, what is the fabric of logic that can withstand a perspective of life that is beyond survival, beyond locality, beyond all the limits that we consider as physical? The physical, the temporal limits. So wouldn't this be a sort of fucking the divine into existence? Meaning to awaken yourself as a species into the possibility of a higher dialogue, awakening yourself into freedom, so as to, just like an adolescent phase in which you awaken into identity, awaken as a species into the possibility of dialogue with the divine, meaning like you produce your right into a new scale of existence. You produce yourself. You produce a self into another scale of existence. So, let us create a life that can entertain such a force of aspiration, so as to respond, so as to fucking respond to the horizon of possibility that is opened before us, that is overwhelming because of its enormous nature. If technology can promise us infinite capacity, infinite horizons of existence, how do we respond to it at the level of the will to live? How can we produce such a fuel of drive, such a fuel of love for existence? How can we produce such a generosity of consciousness that will embrace any fucking horizon of possibility? Is like infinite life boring to you? Why is that? Is infinite capacity for creation boring to you? Why is that? Is full unity and full transparency of being frightening or overwhelming, or is it like, does it smell like an annihilation to you? Why is that? Why can't we face these questions that are like at the level of a brutality that is, we cannot become conscious of it. It's like such a brutal type of responsibility that we are not in any way capable to awaken right now to it. But why should we choose fear? Why should we choose terror? Why should we choose cowardice in front of the divine gifts of possible existence? Why should we stand in this ignorance of a reality that seems predetermined, pre-shaped? Why should we stand in a definition of what nature is, what the universe is, what we are, what the animals are, what the trees are, what space is, what time is? So if we engage responsibly in this calling of the Creator, we have a taste of what creation is, we have a taste of what courage of outrageous historical revolution is. So why don't we step into this calling? The structure of the process of this morning is like this. I connect with a very precious insight that I have. I remember what the phenomenological reduction feels like, tastes like, and I try to engage it, which is not an easy thing to do for me. And basically it feels like owning the world, owning your world as phenomena. So if you understand that the world is produced within your structure as phenomena, then there is no question, like there is no interference of the belief in the existence or non-existence to parenthesize the belief in the existence or non-existence of the world, so as to be clear about the structure, the phenomenological structure of how your existence is shaped within your frame, within your structure. This is kind of awakening responsibility. So it's a matter of honesty to stand in a process in which you inquire, you question yourself continuously whether you are in the taste of it or not. Are you entering it or not? This is the very beauty of the method in Husserl, because he created like a spiritual discipline in a very theoretical domain. So then I kind of try to frame it in a very playful way, as if, okay, I know this is serious, I know this is true, and I want to observe in my field all of the tendencies, all of the intelligence of perception of my environment right now. Like I'm in a certain context that is somehow unaware of this revelation of Husserl. Like the people I am around with, the people that are around me, my children, my friends, the trees, this forest, this fucking resonance of story of what being in the forest is right now, it's not really aware of, or it's not close to what it means to be in a library, in a PhD with the fucking Husserl archives and phenomenological groups, and to handle weird shit like that. So it's a matter of integrity to be able to just, in a very subtle way, to produce dialogue, in the sense that I stand with the power of the insight of the phenomenological reduction, and I wish to make it active here in this exact context, in relation to all of these primal forms of experience. So it's a basic work of integrity. And then I relate to the divine as, in the freedom of shaping my world and my story in this process, I relate to the divine as this complete view of existence, the responsibility over the complete horizon of existence, worldview. And then I define it as all shapes and forms of love I can produce in my system, all the forms of love that I can feel. And then I take the stance of defining everything around me in this logic, like with this joyous, ecstatic mode of tasting true, diverse, complete forms of love. And then I go further and say to myself that if I really want to awaken this beast, this vast body of the divine defined like that, I will need to create such a stance of, like, if the divine is omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, like the divine is knowing everything about me, inner, outer, but how can I produce a pocket of possibility that will be surprising and thrilling and like awakening the divine into interest for me? It's like I would try to seduce the divine into awakening. Awakening meaning that the divine would be interested in me, or I should shock the divine with my adolescent awakening into possibility. And then I move into this call that I want to shout into the world. Let us create this army of visionaries that can produce such a structure of existence, such a logic, such a fabric of possibility that would make this unbearable perspective possible, so as to meet this the scales of possibility that are awakened through technology and AI are somehow scary and overwhelming, because we did not yet produce the architecture of such a possible scale of life. And I mean heart architecture. Like, how do we get the resources to really want an infinite life, an infinite capacity for creation, infinite capacity to explore all the depths of the psyche, the mind or the heart or the flesh or the sensation, or all forms of creation, all stretches of the universe, all forms of physics? Like, where do we get the motivation, the fuel of the heart, the fuel of love, to want such a scale of existence? So I want to make a simple call towards the people that would wish to engage such a harsh discipline of fucking the divine flesh of possibility. And I would say this is not an easy thing, and I would say this is like ultimately ecstatic, ultimately brutal, ultimately just like the ultimate gift.